Happy Monday, May 13th, everyone. Hunter here again at Weather on the Go, and in today's weather forecast, we do have severe weather that will be likely near the Gulf Coast as we go through your Monday, and severe weather will remain possible across the southeast with the same storm system as we go into Tuesday, May 14th. We'll break down both threats of severe weather. That does include damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes with both threats, and we'll also look at the long-range outlook into next weekend and beyond as well. We'll do all that in today's video. If you are new here to Weather on the Go, make sure to subscribe to my channel down below for the latest weather information right at your fingertips. Also be sure to press the like button down below to the thumbs up button. It helps out more than you know. So let's get into the weather forecast here for today. And you can see our low temperatures this morning were pretty mild here across the eastern 2/3 of the country, from the Milwaukee, Chicago area there on the lakefront into the low 60s, all the way down to St. Louis here at 63, 64 this morning in Little Rock, 66 in Dallas, Fort Worth, and 67 in the Atlanta, Georgia area this morning. So very mild out east. Out west, a little bit cooler there for places out west here. Salt Lake City at 49, 52 degrees up there into portions of Washington State, and 64 in Las Vegas this morning. As we go into the afternoon, temperatures will be quite mild throughout the entire country. You can see a lot of spring, even summer-like temperatures here. Up into the Twin Cities, we're at 70 degrees this afternoon. We're at 73 in Rapid City, South Dakota. Into the portions of the Grand Forks region, we're into the mid-60s at 67. 60 degrees in Des Moines this afternoon, and 87 degrees down there into the Waco, Texas region this afternoon, with some summertime heat further toward the south. And as we go through the day today, we do have a shortwave trough. This is your 500 millibar height anomaly map, and this basically shows you where the blues are. We have a low pressure trough coming in here across the southern plains. This is going to bring active weather that will shift further east toward the southeast U.S. on Tuesday. So what this will do is bring rounds of severe storms. The Storm Prediction Center's latest day one outlook has an enhanced risk in the orange of severe weather. This is a level 3 out of 5 on the risk scale, from San Antonio over here into the Houston region, Lake Charles, near New Orleans, all the way over into Mobile and even Panama City here for today. And this does include the initial storms that could produce some very large hail, over 2 inches in diameter. That is hen egg size or larger, around the San Antonio and Austin area, into Houston, Corpus Christi, all the way up here into Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, and Alexandria, Louisiana, stretching all the way over here into New Orleans and almost to the Jackson, Mississippi region. Some very large hailstones there. As upscale growth of the storms occur after they become supercells and become an MCS, a mesoscale convective system, a derecho is actually possible later today near the Gulf Coast from around portions of Houston, eastward through Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, and Alexandria, over here toward New Orleans there, the Hattiesburg region of southern Mississippi, the Mobile area, and all the way over to Panama City. We could have a derecho with winds over 75 miles per hour as we go through the day and into tonight, and that could carry the threat for tornadoes. We have a 5% shading there in the brown shaded color for tornadoes across the Tallahassee region, Mobile, New Orleans, stretching back to Lake Charles there, Alexandria, and Baton Rouge. Even that 2% of tornadoes stretching up there into Little Rock, the DFW area, Jackson, Mississippi, and Montgomery, and even over further to the east toward Melbourne, into portions there of the Daytona Beach area, Jacksonville, and Gainesville in Orlando, Florida. So a lot of areas impacted here by the risk of severe weather and tornadoes today. Why are we seeing this? Well, dew points right off the Gulf of Mexico, quick access to the Gulf. We have 60, 70 degree dew points there near the Gulf Coast. That is going to contribute to some very large instability values across especially coastal Texas there into Louisiana. That's why we have the very large hail threat across this region, because instability over 3,000, perhaps over 4,000 joules per kilogram will contribute to those very large updrafts that produce those very large hailstones later today. So let's look at what the radar depiction could look like as we go through the day here. And you can see this morning, we do have a mesoscale convective system here, a little bit of a bow echo moving across portions of southern Alabama and northwestern Florida. Some very strong winds on the leading edge of that line of storms. A supercell or two may develop back here into south central Texas near San Antonio and Austin this morning. Later this morning, as we go into the afternoon, that MCS will start to weaken as it pushes into southern Georgia and Florida, still bringing the threat for gusty winds. A new mesoscale convective system will develop with supercells initially near coastal Texas and southwestern Louisiana. That will race eastward near the Gulf Coast into the New Orleans region, into Hattiesburg, into portions of Mobile, even in Panama City there in Pensacola as we go through this evening and overnight tonight. That could become a derecho that could produce winds over 75 miles per hour. What a derecho is winds of over 75 miles per hour over a large distance of at least 250 miles here. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. Very heavy rains as well near the Gulf Coast through your Tuesday morning. You can see the oranges here. That's at least 5 inches worth of rain there into portions of Mobile, Alabama especially. So keeping a very close eye on that. That region has a moderate risk for flash flooding through your Tuesday morning commute, so we're keeping a very close eye on that. But the entire Gulf Coast really looking at a slight risk for flash flooding. And then from Kansas City up here to the Davenport Quad Cities region and even the Chicago area and Cook County, Illinois, we do have a slight risk of flash flooding up here, as additional thunderstorms in the Midwest will bring a non-severe risk, but some very heavy rainfall as we go through Tuesday morning. Speaking of Tuesday, that shortwave trough moves across the southeastern U.S., bringing a marginal threat of severe weather. This is currently a level 1 out of 5. There could be a slight risk added in later outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center, depending on the confidence of severe weather and the coverage of severe weather. But in general, areas up here into Tennessee, the Carolinas, near the Charlotte area, Asheville, stretching over to Wilmington, down into South Carolina there, Columbia, Myrtle Beach, and Charleston, getting into Georgia, Atlanta, Macon, Georgia, and Savannah, Georgia, getting into the Alabama region, Huntsville, the Florence, all the way down to Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, the Montgomery region, Dothan, all the way back there into Mobile, and the North Florida there, Jacksonville, all the way down there toward Tampa Bay, Gainesville and Orlando, back to Tallahassee, Pensacola. All you guys are affected there on Tuesday. The main risks are going to be for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, some quarter-size hail out there as well, and a slight chance of a tornado or two, especially across the southeast coast from Wilmington down to Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Savannah, Georgia there into Jacksonville. That could stretch almost down there toward the Daytona Beach area, Tampa Bay, Gainesville, and Orlando, back to Tallahassee, Pensacola, and Panama City. We'll keep a very close eye on that. You have a 2% chance of a tornado there on Tuesday. Looking at Tuesday morning here, we have some ongoing thunderstorm activity. This is likely ongoing for Monday's storms from today. We can see that across northern Florida into western Florida as we go into Tuesday morning. Some additional storms up there in the Carolinas. More activity will brew up across the northeastern Gulf there Tuesday afternoon. It remains to be seen how far north and inland some of these storms will be. If they are more inland, we'll see some stronger winds and some hail with these. But I think as we go into Tuesday evening, we'll just see scattered storms developing there across the southeast. All of those could pose a risk for hail, wind, and even a few tornadoes. We'll keep a close eye on that. And they will also be dropping some very heavy rains as well. This is your rainfall accumulation for Tuesday, where you see the blues here. That is in excess of a ½ inch to an inch of rain, especially for the Delmarva all the way down there into the coastal Carolinas and parts of the lower Ohio River Valley as well. And we don't want to be dismissing the North Florida, southern Georgia activity either. You can see some brighter blues and even some purples there. That is at least 1.25 inches to almost 1.5 inches of rainfall. So some very heavy rains there. That's the region where we have that slight risk for flash flooding Tuesday into Wednesday. The marginal risk extending up across most of the southeast, the Ohio Valley there, and into the mid-Atlantic states. Going into Wednesday, not really a big day for severe weather. We have a couple marginal risks here, one across portions of the southern plains, one across portions of the eastern Carolinas, and then central Florida, some diffuse severe weather there on Wednesday. You can see pretty scattered activity as we go through the day there. Same thing on Thursday. I don't think Thursday will be that big of a deal for severe weather. Maybe some stronger storms into the southern plains as a new shortwave trough moves across and into the Gulf Coast. That could bring another marginal threat of severe weather again as we go into Friday for areas that are seeing severe weather today. So looking at the rainfall totals now through Saturday, May 18th, and you can see the heaviest rains clearly from East Texas eastward all the way to North Florida and southern Georgia. The heaviest rains will be around portions north of New Orleans toward Hattiesburg, Mobile, and over here into Panama City. Those orange areas, that's at least 5 to 8 inches of rain, and that could be conservative, folks. There could be some double-digit totals here if we have heavy enough rain and a lot of rounds of storms. And look up here toward the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, and the Mid-Atlantic. Those areas will be seeing those brighter blues and purples. That's at least 1 to as much as 2 inches worth of rainfall through the week there. And then as we go into the weekend and into the early part of next week, this takes you from Saturday, May 18th through Wednesday, May 22nd. Warmer weather across the south and the east, with cooler conditions favored across portions of the northern Rockies into the high plains there of the Dakotas, but a very active weather pattern will persist through the weekend and into at least the first half of next week through Wednesday, May 22nd. Here, the only dry areas we see is across the Seattle area, Portland, and the Medford area, all the way down there toward the northern Sacramento Valley, or down here where areas are very significant drought stricken across portions of eastern Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas. So the Albuquerque, Santa Fe area back here toward Lubbock and Midland, Fort Stockton, and also the El Paso, Texas region. Pretty dry as we go through the weekend and the first half, at least, of next week. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below if you want to subscribe to this channel for detailed, accurate weather forecasts right at your fingertips. Make sure to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below. It helps out more than you know, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Monday out there.